help you keep food out of the landfill and get every penny out of your food dollar. So it's still summer, and much like the recent Summer Bounty episode, I'm going to be using up a lot of in-season produce. I get so excited at the farmer's market, I go a little nuts, and suddenly I have wrinkly peppers and squash with some spots on them. So what do I always say about the best way to use up vegetables that are a little past their prime? Turn it into a soup or stew, something along those lines. So today we're making ratatouille. So not only are we going to be using up a lot of vegetables that were on the verge, but I'll be talking about how when you make a giant pot of this stuff and you don't want to eat it every day for days on end, what else you can do with it. So it's not going to be leftovers, it's going to be makeovers. So we're going to get started. And because this requires a lot of chopping and slicing, I busted out the food processor and let it do all the hard work. So yay! So we have here some green, red, and yellow peppers, onions, yellow squash or summer squash, and zucchini. So we're going to start off with our onions and peppers. They're about the same consistency, so I can put them together. Then we're going to put garlic in there. This definitely has a Mediterranean flavor profile. So yay on the garlic. I also have some mushrooms and some basil I was gifted by a friend. Thanks, Mo. And that was starting to, go a little dark, so throwing that in there too. So we're going to get started. I've had my olive oil heating up for a minute or two. So we're going to get started. And this makes a big pile, so good thing I know what else I'm going to do with it. Love the sizzle. So the seasonings you're going to use with this are obviously salt and pepper, and then I buy the giant bottle of Italian seasoning because I use it by the ton. So in addition to the fresh basil, which is really going to give it a punch, we're going to use some of these dried seasonings to round out the flavors. So I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me stir all these vegetables while they soften up. Oh, and I forgot to mention the other big important ingredient is tomatoes, and I'm being a little lazy and I'm using the canned diced tomatoes just because very convenient. So I'm going to come back in a little while once all the vegetables have been added in and we're at the simmering phase. You already know what's going in there, so we can cut to when it's all together. You can see it in the pot and that part of the process. So stay tuned, be back in a little while. Okay, I'm back and I've got everything added to the pot. We're now at the simmer phase of this. I forgot to mention that traditional ratatouille also includes eggplant. I didn't happen to have eggplant, so I'm just going with I got, because that's how I roll. So you can see it's this wonderfully colorful melange of vegetables. So we've got the red of the tomatoes, green from zucchini and peppers, and yellow and all that good stuff. So the order of things, just to review, was I start always with my aromatics, the onion and the peppers. Once those had gotten translucent, after a few minutes, I added the garlic, because remember, with garlic, if you add it too soon, you run the risk of it burning, because boy, that stuff cooks super fast. So, and especially since it was a little watery from release of the water from the peppers, we weren't running that risk. So I got that all going. Then I added the squash. These were thin sliced because I did it in the food processor. Normally it would be a bit more chunky, but hey, I was just going for the time-saving features. So now I then added my salt and pepper because of course the salt is going to help the squash release some of its liquid. Then the mushrooms and the basil and seasoning, and then the tomatoes, because the tomatoes are what are going to make it soupy saucy. And now it's simmering, so it cooks down a bit and thickens up. Very excited about this. So that's going to take a while to simmer, so we're just going to let it sit there and do its thing while I talk about all the wonderful things you can do with this ratatouille, or vegetable stew, if you will. You can eat it as is, as a side dish. You can serve it on top of rice or pasta. You can also make a version of shakshuka, which is a traditional Middle Eastern dish where you cook eggs. You break an egg into the simmering sauce there and let it cook that way and add feta cheese. So it's a fun, different kind of breakfast. You can even do it sort of in a casserole format if you're feeding a crowd. I've done that and it comes out great. And you can also turn it into something else entirely, such as vegetarian chili. All you need to do is add corn, black beans, kidney beans if you like, and then suddenly you've got a chili. And what do I like to do with my chili? Check out the episode where I converted vegetarian chili into veggie burgers. You do that by adding rice and breadcrumbs. You drain it so it's as dry as possible. You mix all that together, you fry it up, and it's like a chili burger. It's awesome. So those are just some of the things that you can do with this giant pot of ratatouille. I'm one person. I could not possibly eat my way through this in a short period of time without getting so sick of it I never wanted to eat it again. So anyhow, so you always want to try cook it once, use it a lot of different ways, because that's another way you keep food out of the landfill. If you're not big on leftovers, you got to get used to that makeover concept where you turn it into something else so that you use it up and don't throw it away. So that's it for today. Happy eating. Bye.